Here's exactly why I shifted my training to, instead of just focusing purely on aesthetics, to a more hybrid approach. Not just focusing on the way that I looked, but the way that I perform and the way that I actually feel, and my longevity in general, my health. Now, firstly, before we get into this, let me explain my background. Let me explain what I did originally with my training, what my goals were, and then at what point they kind of started to shift to where they are now, where they are completely different to what they used to be. So I got into training at quite a young age, about 16 years old when I first went to the gym. I remember when I got my first gym membership, I was absolutely obsessed with training. I used to cycle up a super steep hill every day as soon as I finished school to get to the gym. And I just loved it. My initial goal was always around looking good. That was all I cared about. I didn't really care about anything else. Even though I was playing lots of sports at the time, I wasn't really bothered about trying to improve my performance in any of these sports. Naturally, I was quite fit anyway, so I felt like I didn't really need to. But my entire focus was just, how can I get bigger? How can I look better to improve my confidence? And it was to improve confidence. I wanted to look better so that I could, get more girls, so I could be more popular, so that I had more authority at the time. That was literally my entire outlook, because there was an element of myself when I was younger where I probably didn't feel as confident. I probably felt a little bit self-conscious about a few things. So I thought that just getting in the gym and getting stronger and getting bigger would completely change all these things. Guess what? It did. From training for a good few years, I massively improved my self-confidence. I felt so much better. I used to have more success with girls. I used to be, maybe more popular because of the way that I looked. I used to be better at sport. That helped with my performance. I was captain of the rugby team when I was at school. And a lot of this came down to how I looked. I was treated with more respect because I trained, because I looked after myself. And that's what happens when you get in shape. So for the first few years of my life, my training life, like my entire focus was around trying to look as good as I possibly could, building a physique. And that's why in 2019, I decided that I wanted to compete. I did my first competition because, again, I was obsessed with the way that I looked. I wanted to make sure that I got to the best shape I ever could, so I could compete, so I could go out in front of loads of people in my boxes, my pants, and try and look the best I could, gathered in fake tan. Now, I actually realized after I did that competition that I didn't really enjoy competing as much as I thought I would. I'm glad I did it. At that point, I started to feel maybe that there was a few other things that I wanted to achieve. But anyway, I was going on holidays at the time. I went to Ibiza twice when I was younger. Again, a lot of my focus was around wanting to look as good on those. Just like any typical single lad at that time, I just wanted to try and look as good as I could, to try and be as confident as I could. And that's absolutely fine. If you're watching this video and you're centered around wanting to look your best as well, again, this is fine. But what I realized is that this isn't really something that's great to be, too precious about all the time. If you are solely focused on the way that you look when it comes to staying in shape, it makes it really hard, because you start obsessing around things that you just can't always control. You actually start to miss out on life a little bit. You can actually end up just putting yourself in a bit of a bad place. You feel bad. You could sabotage your results. Like, mentally, your mindset isn't always good. You feel like you should always be shredded all the time. You feel like you should always be super lean. And that just isn't the best way of looking at things, especially as you start to get older. So my mindset, my goals, everything shifted a little bit when I got to my late 20s. 29 at the moment, so I'd probably say it was a couple of years ago, where instead of just wanting to look good, I decided that I wanted to have everything in my fitness. Okay, I wanted to perform well. I wanted to be able to run fast. I wanted to be able to run distances. Just generally wanted to have a hybrid approach. I wanted to have good health, good blood pressure. Just wanted to make sure that I was as healthy as I could possibly be. And this is everything when it comes to fitness. It's not just about looking good. It's not just about being aesthetic. It's about having the full package, which I believe everyone can achieve. The reality is now is that a lot of the bodybuilders that sometimes we look up to, certainly that I looked up to, they are not healthy. And a lot of them are now dead. The ones that I used to consider as, the top kind of tier in terms of health, because bodybuilding is not actually healthy, and looking and trying to be super shredded all the time is not healthy. And I'm not saying you can't still look good and stay lean all year round. Of course you can, but you can also have great health, great endurance, great fitness as well, while still looking good. And I think this is what's really important, especially as you start to get older, especially as you kind of hit your 30s and go into your 40s. Your health is everything. And now, of course, I can't speak from my own experience because I'm not there yet, but I've worked with enough guys, enough women to know that this is really what it is about when you start to get older. Now, anyway, the most important thing is that you start coming away from the focus around purely your weight and aesthetics, and you start looking at the whole performance spectrum. And when I say performance, this isn't you obsessing over the scales anymore. This is you actually starting to really obsess over, hitting certain metrics with your training, getting stronger on your bench press, getting stronger on your squat, getting a certain time with your 5K, completing your first marathon. Because when you come away from purely focusing all the time on aesthetics and trying to look good, and you start setting these other goals, you start to realize that you actually need to eat more food to fuel your training, okay? You don't obsess as much over being a certain weight because your goals are different. You're working towards a different goal. So you kind of realize that, well, if I'm a little bit lighter or I'm a little bit heavier, that's fine because my goal is different. But as a byproduct of all of this, you still stay in unbelievable shape. You still stay lean all year round, even though your focuses are a little bit different. And that's exactly what's happened to me. Since I moved to a more hybrid approach, which is about 2 years ago, and since then, I've done things like Hyroxes, I've done half marathons, I did my first marathon last year, I did a sub 90-minute 5K. All these things, I've still been in the shape of my life. Anyone would look at me and think that I still have the same mindset of obsessing over the way I look and staying super lean all the time, when I actually don't. My life now is so much more balanced in the fact that I eat out most weeks, I have loads of balance, I drink alcohol sometimes during certain parts of the year. I really enjoy my life, and I don't take a massive focus around obsessing over macros and obsessing over calories anymore. I actually, for most parts of the year, don't really track my calories because I just know now that even intuitively, I can still maintain my physique whilst not having to obsess over these certain things. So me coming away from a purely aesthetics mindset has actually helped me stay lean and actually enjoy my life way more, because my goals are different now in the fact that, I want to achieve X 5K time, X 10K time. I want to do my next Hyrox in, this time in sub hour. I want to do another marathon and I want to achieve a sub 3:30. There's loads of goals that I've got in my head I want to achieve this year, which for me now don't really require me to, look a certain way. I know anyway, I will still sustain my physique. I will still sustain my abs because the way that I train now, with it being hybrid, it still allows me to be able to stay in the shape that I want to stay in. And most importantly, guys, our health is the #1 priority. Cardio starts to become more important the older that you get, okay? A lot of the time this is neglected. I neglected my cardio a lot when I was younger, but now I realized that, I want a healthy heart. I want to minimize the risk of any cardiovascular disease as I get older. I want a healthy blood pressure, cholesterol, and just simply doing weights and obviously neglecting other parts of your training, it just leads you to becoming very one-dimensional. You lack mobility. Whereas if you take more of a well-rounded approach with your training, you have more performance mindset, then you'll be able to look after your health. You'll be able to prevent a lot of these aging diseases and things that we worry about from just simply exercising and eating in the correct way. Being fit now, being in shape, it isn't just about looking good. Loads of people have achieved that. It's about having everything. You want to make yourself hard to kill, the elite. You want to be fast. You want to be fit. You want to be strong. You want to have everything. That's what makes you a hybrid machine. That's what makes you the top 1%. So this is why now we don't just focus on getting our clients into amazing shape. Once we get them there, we then set even bigger goals to take them to the next level. So as always, guys, I hope you find this video useful. If you are just starting out with your journey, of course, have the same mindset as me, have the same goal as when I was younger, get into wicked shape. It's an unbelievable feeling when you finally have confidence the way that you look, what that does in your life, how things change. It's an incredible feeling. Everyone should experience that. But once you do achieve that, don't obsess purely over aesthetics. It's not something that you need to worry about for the long run. And if your habits, if your discipline, if your mindset's in the right place, you will stay lean all year round. You'll stay in shape all year round whilst enjoying your life a lot more when you start to set yourself bigger goals, more performance-related goals, and you just have a full hybrid approach to your training and your lifestyle. So make sure you smash the like button if you found this one useful, bell notifications so you're notified every time I post, and hit subscribe for future videos. I'll catch you in the next video.